We begin this hour with big news in the race for the White House. Last night, right here on the Fox News channel, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott announcing he is suspending his presidential campaign.
All right, the now former Republican presidential candidate says he won't endorse another candidate at this time.
Peter Doocy joins us right now with details as President Biden ramps up his campaigning as he hits the road tomorrow. Peter?
And Senator Tim Scott will not be moving here in January of 2025. He will not be the Trump alternative to Republican primary goers and caucus goers. He says that voters have been telling him, not now, Tim.
I go back to Iowa. It will not be as a presidential candidate. I am suspending my campaign.
Who benefits from that? Reuters reports, in the moments after Scott dropped out, two major donors to his campaign told Reuters they would switch their support to Haley, who, like Scott, hails from the state of South Carolina. There are various reports that this came as a complete surprise to campaign staffers who were under the impression that Tim Scott was still playing to win. They didn't get any heads up and learned he was dropping out watching Trey Gowdy's show. The Scott news is not likely to impact President Biden's strategy much, if at all. He has been focusing more and more on Trump at closed-door fundraisers. There are some families, though, in this country who wish he would focus more on their loved ones. American citizens who the State Department says are wrongfully detained in China when he meets with China's President Xi on U.S. soil this week.
Need President Biden to just go to President Xi and with a plan, a concrete plan to get home my dad and Mark and David. I mean, these are not cases that happened yesterday.
This week is going to be the first time that Biden and Xi have met in person since that spy balloon was sent over the U.S. to eventually be shot down. And there's some other unresolved business. COVID origins, you hear nothing about that anymore anywhere. The spy agencies in this country came up empty, and then they complained that the Chinese side was not being forthcoming. Back to you.
Peter, how long have we known about this? I watched the full interview with that young man. He said, I haven't seen my dad in 7 years. They've been held captive for that long? We're just hearing about it?
And the State Department has declared that they are considered wrongfully detained. So there are 3 different Americans. They are being held for 3 different things, including one man, an American man who is on death row. He is awaiting his execution in China. We don't have any, we don't know yet if this is part of President Biden's plan when he's going into this meeting in San Francisco, but we expect to learn later today more about exactly what the strategy is from the podium here in the briefing room.
Right, and I read somewhere that apparently the United States and China might strike a deal over Boeing so that they can sell Boeing aircraft over there. Won't know till actually you'll be going with the president out there this week. Peter, in talking about Tim Scott dropping out, somebody who hasn't dropped in yet is Gavin Newsom. Is Gavin Newsom going to meet the president there in San Francisco? Because that would be a delicious picture right there, portrait of the two of them.
We expect that they will see each other, and Gavin Newsom will have a chance to say, hey, President Biden, look at how clean San Francisco is.
Right.
We have not had an opportunity to really clean up the streets for the last several years, even though businesses have been leaving and the safety has been declining. But now that we've got some high-profile international guests, the place looks great.
And he admitted it. He said, I'm cleaning up because we have a summit.
Unbelievable.
Right, besides, then we'll go back to dirt and grime.
Yeah.
They got rid of the homeless, too.
On behalf of the White House press corps, thank you.
Yeah. Peter, are they taking that street sweeper that is running behind you right now to San Francisco?
You know, they drove away because we didn't have any bad polls for President Biden today. So it's okay. Coast is clear. Go charge it.
All right.
Thanks, Peter.
But by the way, you don't have to go far to find people that are critical of President Biden. You had Tim Ryan come out and say, I love President Biden, great guy, can't run again. You have Van Jones, similarly emphatic, emotional, he can't run again. And then David Axelrod, double, tripling, and quadrupling down. Joe can't run again. Listen.
The one number in the polling that was concerning, and in the CNN poll that followed after the New York Times poll, had to do with age, and that's one thing you can't reverse. And no matter how effective Joe Biden is behind the scenes, in front of the camera, what he's projecting is causing people concerns, and that's worrisome.
You hear Axelrod talk,
what he's projecting.
when you hear Pluff talk, when you hear Valerie Jarrett talk, they're talking for former President Obama. This is the entire camp that he uses to channel messages out there to the public. They're very close to the former president. The problem that Joe Biden has right now is that
Look at this.
Look at this is crazy.
That was
on Veterans Day.
wreath-laying ceremony. Mm-hmm.
So he just doesn't have it anymore. And honestly, I don't think this is about age. This is about, because everybody's going to meet this day, this is about, can he do the job? And the one thing that is going to hurt him this time as he fumbles around there on a day that's supposed to be very solemn is that he's not going to be able to connect with voters anymore. That was his thing, being out there, being able to talk with people. And as me and Brian are going to go through later on in an hour, the wall of all the polling for all the battleground states, the only way he can overcome that is going out there to meet people, because he's not going to change his policies. And a guy that moves like that can't go out there.
Well, the poll that they were talking about that David Axelrod was referring to is a CNN poll. It says 74% don't think that President Biden, 74% has the stamina. I think Donald Trump got somewhere in the 40s.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's a big number, 74% of voters.
Right. And in those battleground polls, and by the way, in Peter's report, we just saw Joe yelling at Peter because Peter had asked him about the battleground polls, and Joe said, you only quote 2. You only quote the New York Times and CNN. There are 10 in all, and 8 of them I'm doing really well at. In that New York Times poll, the 2 issues that Joe Biden actually beats Donald Trump on are abortion and defense of democracy. So that is what the White House is going to run on. We've known for a while, 6 months ago, we heard the White House strategy for the campaign would be, let the Republicans duke it out in the chaos, and that will just remind people about that. So they've done that, but now apparently, according to NBC, Joe is upset that Trump has taken shots at him. He hasn't returned fire until a couple of days ago at the UAE event. And so now he's going to be, essentially, after the Tuesday results came in with Virginia, that energized Joe because it showed that abortion is a potent issue with voters, and he thinks he can win.
Look at this. I mean, this would, and President Biden, Trump has fun with this. But I mean, it's crazy that he can't pull off a wreath ceremony and that nobody wrote this up. I read in FoxNews.com going, okay, let's see what everyone else says. They just talk about his comments. They talk about what Trump said about what he wants to do to handle illegal immigrants that are here already. And then they don't even mention during a wreath ceremony that he didn't know where to go, had to talk to a soldier on this solemn moment to putting a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier. I mean, and no one helps him. Do you think someone would walk out there, or can you have the vice president go out there with him?
Mr. President, you can go back, take your seat.
The commander-in-chief has to get orders from one of the soldiers.
You think President Xi is worried about their meeting now?
Well, now everyone's aware of it. So anyone who's around him is saying, oh, no, go this way. Let's go this way. So everyone's helping him now.
His team isn't helping him. They should make it really clear. And if the team is saying,
these are just Americans.
Mr. President, you walk up there, you say some words, you go over there, you do the wreath thing. If they tell him and he forgets it, it's on him. But if it's not, it's his team. Whatever it is.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
When I had to dance at my wedding.
Oh,
right?
here we go.
So people knew how terrible a dancer I was, so they put footprints on the ground.
Okay.
Right? And I thought that was a help, not a hindrance.
Right.
Could we put footprints on the ground in these ceremonies so he knows exactly where to walk?
The problem is next to
right
the
there.
Footprints might be a sandbag.
Oh,
and he literally got sandbagged. They put a sandbag right there. He tripped over it. And
all right, let's talk about the border.
Dr. Scholl's has 2 in a packet. You could buy $12. He could make those 10 steps.
You want insoles or footprints?
Well, I don't have. I mean, I don't have art class. I can't cut out little footprints. Dr. Scholl's already made it. So,
I think a great big arrow that you make out of just tape, bright painter's tape.
That's an alternative.
That way.
That's an alternative.
All right, let's talk about the border. Up in Chicago, so many of them were moved from Texas to Chicago because it's a sanctuary city. And Governor Abbott was getting tired of it being his problem alone, so he starts dispersing them throughout the country to say sanctuary cities. Well, apparently, Chicago is so unpleasant for the migrants. Many of them are fleeing back home to Venezuela because it's so cold, and they don't have an opportunity to make a lot of money. They're saying they're being dumped in shelters, and they're refusing better paid jobs, harsh winters, lack of migrant infrastructure, ambivalent support from the locals.
Well, just think about it. Okay, so there you have Halloween, October 31st in Chicago, and it's snowing. It only gets more snowy throughout the season. You would think that the people who are coming to the United States would look into, do a little research. Hey, is it cold where I'm going? The answer is yes. I live just outside New York City. It was 26 degrees at my house this morning when I got into the car. So those people are so upset that there is no infrastructure, to your point.
And we have winter.
Yeah, I know. And so what do? They come through the wall that you see right there. They head north. Turns out Chicago too far north.
It was nice and hot, and we crossed over. Yeah, and now what? This is why the Bulls play indoors. Right? Because it really gets cold. And by the way, who would think that Chicago would be cold in the winter? Don't they get the Fox Weather app?
Wait till February.
William Kelly has lived in Chicago his whole life. He joined us. He's a reporter there, and he said ultimately, blame the Democrats for sanctuary city status and luring these migrants.
We are actually in the middle of the road right now. Can you see this? I feel like we are in the middle of the road. Right?
Here's William.
Welcome to Chicago. Would be the headline here, because the Chicago migrant managers are getting filthy rich. The one person, Mayor Johnson, is worried about losing a single migrant because Mayor Johnson's migrant American dream is in the billions. There are 3 times the number of homeless resident Chicagoans than there are migrants, and they're out in they will be out in the brutal Chicago cold this winter. We're talking about the American dream for migrants. The American dream, sadly, is dead for real Chicagoans.
So you got to hear this. So you break the law to get into the country. You work in the country illegally, and some of the migrants are upset. This is what one migrant dad told the New York Post. We weren't told where we were going. That's a lie, because they have to sign a form in Texas.
Right.
I work in the Bronx. My kids go to school in the Bronx. For us to live out here is ridiculous. So we're going back.
Yeah, what happened was, over the weekend, they took a bunch of the migrants who were over at the Roosevelt Hotel about 3 blocks that way, and they said, we're taking you to another shelter.
Floyd Bennett.
And they bused them to Floyd Bennett Field, which is 6 tents on a runway at a former Brooklyn airfield. And a lot of the migrants in the first bus said, nope, I'm not going to stay right here. Take me back. The next bus, apparently some people did stay, but nonetheless, it's like, the expression beggars can't be choosy?
Yeah.
They are choosy, and they don't want to stay out there because, like that guy you quoted, Lawrence, he works in the Bronx, his kids go to school in the Bronx already. Brooklyn is too far away, especially that
you're getting free education. I don't know how you're working without a social security number. All of this is encompassing, but America's not great enough yet, Brian.
Right, no, but that was the federal government's idea. They said because the mayor, who now finds himself under investigation, that's kind of odd. The mayor's, he said, we're going to give you a Floyd Bennett Field. Really? That's your suggestion? It has cost America $451 billion on illegal immigrant care. The meals, the laundry, the shelter.
It's expensive. And here is another quote of another dad who they went to this shelter. He wasn't happy. He says, they're going to take us back to the train so we can go back to 45th Street. We didn't know we were coming here, I guess to the shelter, he means. They just said that they were taking us to a shelter. I cannot stay here. This is crazy. I read another article in Daily Mail, and it says the family was renting an apartment through a city voucher program in Chicago. It gave them $15,000 for up to 6 months for rental assistance. Wouldn't it be nice if everyone got that? Yeah. It says, but once it ran out, they had to give up their living space. The dad found a job in construction. He was getting paid in cash, but it wasn't enough to sustain his family since they arrived in June. 5 months No end in sight, and they're heading back to Venezuela.
That's why the president's plan is to basically, the former president's plan is to get all of them together, put them in fields, and just evaluate all of them individually and have massively deportation.
Well,
and in the beginning, that would be crazy. But the more people are, the more you see how much money it's cost, how unhappy they are, and how unhappy they are, and we're unhappy that they're here illegally. Why don't we just do that? Why don't you
also
do a do-over? Go back.
It's not just the typical Republicans that are for, safe borders, a legal process for this to happen. It's the Democrats in Chicago. Do you see all the black residents in Chicago that are in the faces of the elected officials?
Stop the sanctuary city.
Can you guys do something for us? We don't have time for this.
Well, and we don't have time to really go into it, but in the mile-high city of Denver, apparently there is a chickenpox outbreak, and it's because there are all these unvaccinated people coming into the country, and so some of the kids at the shelters are getting chickenpox, and then they have to quarantine the kids away from everybody else. It's because when you come into this country, you're supposed to have your vaccines, but all they do is a health check. Are you okay right now? Fine, come on in.
Wait a minute.
So many people don't have so many vaccines.
They didn't check to make sure they were vaccinated.
No, you don't have to.
They didn't.
Never do.
You have to be, but they don't.
They don't check.
They say, have you had your vaccines? I'm not going to ask that because I know nobody's had them. And I've got a friend in healthcare, and there are so many diseases that are ricocheting around the shelters and around the hospitals here in the New York City area that nobody's seen in decades, for a very long time.
Think about this. 2016, everyone's like, how could you be so cruel with sanctuary cities? How, Mr. President, don't remember the huddled masses on the base of the Statue of Liberty? 2024, I think everyone is on board with Trump's. This is out of control. Yeah. And if you have chickenpox, you're watching in Denver, witch hazel. It takes the edge off, right?
Oh my gosh!
They
came out with a vaccine after we grew up, so we all had chickenpox.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
that was not fun.
Yep.
Wow.
I was a lot younger.
Was the vaccine? Oh, you got it too.
Yeah.
I got it. If you have chickenpox, write us.
Oatmeal bad.
Yeah, oatmeal bad. Well, my sister had it, then my brother had it, and then I got it next. So if you're the third one, it's worse. It gets worse and worse. The doctor told us it was the worst.
You don't want it as an adult.
Well, and that's why they vaccinate our kids. Carly, your kid got all the vaccines for that.
We think. We don't know.
No,
we don't know for sure.
I don't know if we can ask. Is that personal?
Well, I'll just leave Brock's medical history personally to myself. But panning out, guys, from the road you are sitting on, square in the middle of it.
Right.
We do have some more news to get to.
Red clay on our shoes.
That's right. It's going to get right into those heels, Ainsley. Starting with a Fox News alert, at least 6 Iranian fighters are dead after the U.S. targeted 2 sites in eastern Syria. This is the third set of U.S. airstrikes targeting Iranian proxies in eastern Syria over the last 2.5 weeks. These airstrikes were in retaliation for the 48 attacks on our troops in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. To another alert here, we've been following a massive fire at a vacant home in Irvington, New Jersey this morning, right outside of Newark. Firefighters are on scene, continuing to battle the blaze. Officials say the fire started right around 6 a.m. No word yet on any victims. And how about this? Golden Corral is honoring our service members with its annual Military Appreciation Night starting at 5 p.m. today. Military members and veterans can receive a free meal as a thank you for serving our country. Golden Corral has served more than 6 million meals since starting its Military Appreciation Night back in 2001 and has raised more than $18 million. Those are your headlines. There are very few all good news stories, but that's one of them.
That is. In Golden Corral, they have the best bread.
Oh,
it's delicious.
That's everything.
Bourbon chicken.
Soup. Yes.
Yeah.
It's no Fuddruckers.
It's what?
It's no Fuddruckers.
Do those still exist?
Oh, yeah.
I used to love those in Texas.
Let's not bash Golden Corral.
No, that's what they're doing.
It's American.
Love what they're doing. Not bash, you just like Fuddruckers better.
All right.
Totally different. One is a hamburger joint. One is a buffet where you can get anything you want.
I made a choice.
Okay.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.